Hey, everybody. Welcome back to episode 205. We are excited to talk to you today about one of our favorite subjects, bonding with your kids. And specifically, we get to talk about newborns and bonding with them and what we would tell our younger selves about bonding. All right, so let's get started talking about the how and the why of bonding with your kids. Hello, and welcome to Outnumbered the podcast. I'm Audrey.
And I'm Bonnie. We are experienced moms to a combined total of 19 children.
In our weekly episodes, we explore relatable topics using our perspectives of humor and chaos.
Tune in for advice and encouragement to gain more joy in your parenting journey.
Okay, everybody, like we told you in the intro, we are going to talk about how to get addicted today. No, we're designed to become addicted to our offspring. And so today we're going to be sharing all the why and how to do that.
Yeah, and if you need to become addicts to babies, then clearly you are in the right place because the ladies that had all the kids are the ones to tell you. And, we say that kind of tongue in cheek, but there is something to be said about just how much biological draw there is to a baby. And it's actually kind of funny. A little story about before we started having kids was my husband and I got married and we thought we would wait about a year or so, just kind of settle into married life. And before we decided to have a family or start trying. About 4 months into our marriage, though, my husband's like, I really feel like we should just start trying now. I'm like, wait, that wasn't the plan. I was kind of like, because what was funny is since the day we were married, I just kept saying, when are we going to have a baby? When are you going to give me a baby? When are you going to let me have a baby? Because babies, who doesn't love babies? There are some people that don't love babies. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just, for the most part, I feel like there's just this real biological urge. Anyway, point being, when he finally said, okay, I think I'm ready, I was like, whoa, it's a lot more involved for me. So let me have 5 minutes here to wrap my head around all this. And had I known just exactly what would have been what would have that 16 years of having babies back to back to back would have entailed, I might have thought a little bit longer, but here we are today and we love our babies. So we're going to talk about why we do and why that's important.
Yeah. My husband has some sort of joke about something about us having babies is like the chicken and the pig committing to have breakfast together, deciding to have breakfast together, where he says he's like the chicken because they make a commitment, but they make a contribution, but the pig has to be committed.
Yeah,
for their
sure.
ham and egg omelet.
Yeah, exactly. All in. We're going all in. Yeah. Those guys are like, sure, I'll hang out for a little bit. If you get a good one, though, they help with the feeding and the, rocking and all the things. So make sure you get a good one.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk about the why and how of bonding with our babies. And this is something that we're doing this as one of our What I Tell a Younger Me episodes. And really we talk to our younger self, that younger mom that like has babies hanging all over her. And we would just want to talk about the why and the how of bonding with our babies. This is something we think our younger selves need to hear, especially on those days when she's got those babies hanging all over her. She hasn't had a shower yet. She's overwhelmed. She's touched out. She just wants 5 minutes. And we just want to give her a little hug and a little encouragement and explain why her life is the way it is right now.
Yeah, but even if you are out of the baby stage or don't have plans for another baby, there's going to be a lot of great stuff for bonding with older kids as well. So keep listening. Okay, so there is a huge list of why bonding with your child is important. And guaranteed there's nobody out there listening that's thinking, I could or couldn't bond with my kid. No, we all want a strong bond. And sometimes it comes very immediately after birth. You see that baby and you're just in love right away. And sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with you, but there are ways to develop this and make this bond thrive. So a handful of reasons we're going to share here. Number one, it keeps baby alive, literally. Babies that don't have physical attachment and don't have someone to bond with end up being failure to thrive, sometimes even die. You guys, we have collected a huge list of reasons why bonding is important at all stages, but especially those younger babies. And so we're going to share them with you today. You're not going to believe them.
Yeah. So we want to start with physical, like why the physical bond is important for babies. So they have better development. Premature babies who were stroked when they were in the NICU gained nearly 50% more weight than babies that were not stroked while they were in NICU. Isn't that crazy? Just by being touched. But it
Mhm.
also prevents disease and it boosts immunity. Guys, I was reading this article and I didn't even like link it in prep for the show notes here, but it was like breaking down by at the gene level how the immune system is changed and built by just bonding with the mother. When the baby bonds with the mother, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. We love to just pat ourselves on the back when science figures out, oh, look at this amazing stuff. But if we just kind of follow Mother Nature, like a baby is not designed to be left alone on the ground, right? They can't hold their heads up, they can't hold themselves up. They're designed to be held, like basically nonstop, because they can't do anything for themselves. And yet we've become so clever with our bouncy chairs and our swings and our all the things to figure out a way to get the kid off of us. But in reality, there is science behind why the holding is so important. So it doesn't mean you can't ever put your baby down. I'm just saying it pays to really pay attention to how nature design things, right?
Yeah, if your instincts are telling you to hold the baby, hold the baby. Good
Yeah.
grief. Don't listen to your mother-in-law who says, oh, they're going to get to, whatever. Tune that one out.
Okay, so mental benefits, lots of those as well. This bonding, physical bonding with a caregiver releases hormones and chemicals like oxytocin, the one that is released during childbirth, in the brain, and these hormones spur rapid brain growth, helps them develop much more quickly. And babies and toddlers develop way faster in those early years of life than ever any other phase, right? It actually enhances their IQ, it affects their personality, and leans itself towards better cognitive functioning across the board. Just all the things, basically.
Almost like they were designed to
Be
be
held,
attached to their
almost.
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then on the social spectrum, like you said, being bonded to the mother is designed to keep the baby alive. We're like designed to be addicted to our offspring, and so that they can stay alive.
Mm.
But they have superior social development, and it also affects all future relationships. So that is kind of crazy. The attachment bond to the mother specifically, but to the parents affects all future relationships. Kind of crazy.
I don't know that there is another animal on earth that requires as much care for as long as a human baby. And I think there's a reason for that. And I don't think the reason is only for the baby either. I think there's a lot to be taught for us and the bond that we create on our half of things in holding and nurturing and feeding that baby for so long, right? A long, long time. So some later in life benefits that we can touch on are also physical, positive behavior, better physical health, again, better immunity. That lasts longer than just the baby years.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy to read the science on that one. I was like, whoa. Babies who had the better, stronger attachment to their parents were healthier later in life. I was like, wow, bring it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give your kids a good head start on life for their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some mental long-term benefits later in life. Our long-term mental health is affected by that attachment with the parent, the strength or the weakness of that. And you can like maybe think of somebody who didn't have an attachment to their parent or their mother and how maybe it's had an effect on them. Later in life, they are totally higher on the scale of independence and self-confidence. And then there's those choices that they make, like those mental health, emotional choices that they make that are better in life.
So interesting. As well, social lasts longer as well. Healthier relationships for kids long term, not just as toddlers, and longer lasting relationships. So the relationships tend to be healthier and last longer, especially the serious ones. If they have that really strong bond with a parent. So fascinating.
I know, isn't that all crazy? So that's all the why bonding is important. If you want to research it farther, please do. It's kind of crazy. Um we want to talk about ways to bond with your baby. So if you're feeling like this is the most helpful when you're pregnant before you've had a baby, to be thinking about these things. And kind of it's going to be a lot of what your instincts are telling you to do already. But this is also useful if you already have a baby that you're like, maybe you've had, a terrible birth and you didn't get that first moments of, whatever that you wished, or maybe the bond isn't like you had hoped it would be. So these are things that you can use even later after the moments of birth. Okay, so ways to bond. It uses all the senses, because think about it, babies they don't have language and to communication, so they use all their senses to communicate. So that is definitely use one or more or all of the senses. And of course, like I said earlier, is better, but it's never too late. What one I forget if it was a child psychologist or a medical doctor was saying that you need to nourish all their senses when
Yeah.
working on bonding.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. We have them all for a reason, right? It all stimulates the brain and other aspects of our health. I remember my mom mentioning recently that when she would take her kids on outings growing up, so to the zoo or on vacation or something out of the ordinary where there was a lot of extra stimulus, that her kids would always, especially the younger ones that were going through all the developmental milestones, would have a ton of new milestones hit right after vacation. And she thought that was so interesting when she brought it up to the doctor. He was like, well, yeah, they're just getting so much more stimulus than usual. And it's things that are new and unanticipated. It's not the same house and the same people, new faces, new smells, new sights. And all of a sudden, their brain's like firing like crazy, making these new connections. I thought that was pretty fascinating. Okay, so touch is the first one we're going to talk about. That's the first one that kind of comes to mind when we talk about physical bonding, especially with a baby, because you have to pick them up and touch them to have a connection with them. With babies, it's easy, right? You just hold them, which they need to be held anyway. Breastfeeding, skin to skin, we've talked about that. Most people get that right after birth, or like understand that, and so they give that to their babies, but not often after that. Baby wearing is huge. Bonus makes life a whole lot easier when you're trying to do dinner and the baby needs you, right? Even just bathing them, bath time with your hands on them and washing them and caressing them, rubbing their head, anything you want to do. Hugs. Who doesn't love hugs? Do all of the touching.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Moms, we kind of have it easy because we get that skin to skin contact when we're breastfeeding. And then if we do co-sleeping with babies and all that, that gets us a lot of touch. But dads, like they can have the opportunity when they're bathing the baby and just, seek out the skin to skin contact to work on the father child bond as well. Sight is another one. That eye to eye contact with a baby. Oh, hey, you know what? I was gonna say we have episodes. You might pick up that Bonnie and I are pretty how important that we think bonding is with babies so far, because we've done episodes about breastfeeding, we've done episodes about baby wearing. We've got a lot of episodes that you can like go dig in on these a lot deeper. Okay, so sight. It's eye to eye contact with the baby. They say that a newborn's vision is 20/20 at about 18 inches, which is about the distance from the mother's
At the
to the
breast.
mother's face
Yeah.
at the breast. Yeah.
Pretty
So,
fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, it's like they're designed to have that be a way that they bond, that eye to eye contact. When, mimic the baby's movements, that is something that somehow bonds, that causes, bonds to them. And then when they get a little bit older and you do, how all of us mothers, we play those games with our babies designed to get them to smile. Well, it's a reward loop thing for us and for the baby. So when they smile, then we do it again. The smile is a reward for us. The doing it again is a reward for them. It's just like these psychological reinforcements of that whole bonding game that we play, and we don't even know that we're building our bond with our baby when we're doing that and playing with them.
We don't even know we're just being monkeys. Going back and forth, because seeing baby smile, that does something biologically to us. We're like, ah, she smiled, so exciting, and then we want to do it again, and they want to do it again. It's so fun, fascinating.
Yeah, we turn into like complete fools just to
Oh
make a
yeah,
baby smile. Yeah,
standing on our
yeah,
head and doing the
yeah,
stupidest thing. Yeah.
yeah. we posted on social media and we're like, "Oh, I sound kind of silly, but look at my baby's cute smile." And nobody responds, "Oh, you sound silly." They all respond like, "Oh, cute smile," right?
Exactly. My husband and I always joke, what if we lived in a world where adults talk to each other like we talk to babies? Hey there, buddy. How's it going? Like all up in their face. It'd be ridiculous. But we make fools of ourselves just to get those
Mm,
babies to react because there's something in our
yeah,
brain that says,
yeah,
ding, 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 that's a reward. And then the baby is then bonding to us and developing themselves. So fascinating.
yeah. It hasn't the Studio C group taken that kind of to the ultimate of humor where they have, like the kid snippets one where they do the
Oh, yes.
anyway.
Oh, kids are so fun. Okay, the next one is smell. Who doesn't love a baby smell? I do. I mean, unless they have poopy pants, obviously. But
Yeah.
babies, you guys, babies literally emit pheromones. Seriously. And the moms can identify the baby by smell. They have proven this scientifically. If that's not bizarre, isn't that crazy? After only the first 10 minutes of life, they can pick out their baby by smell. Like that
Yeah.
is just magic. And then obviously the baby as well can identify their mother and their mother's milk by smell and calm down just when the smell hits them, not even necessarily drinking the milk yet, just when they smell it coming close.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen videos of a newborn baby where it's after birth put up on its mother's stomach and it actually crawls and moves
Yes.
and gets its way up to the milk because it can
You guys,
like
it's unbelievable if you haven't seen it. Go Google it. The videos are out there. They are basically just placed on mom, skin to skin, and the baby is able to make their way to the nipple to nurse. It's crazy, but science, man, you can't make it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so I was reading this study and it said that 90% of moms can identify their baby out of a whole pack of babies. I mean, like, where'd they get a whole pack of babies? But anyway, after only 10 minutes, and 100% after 1 hour can find their baby by smell.
Wow.
It
Wow.
wasn't like one mom that failed. And you think that, like a baby smells like a baby. Nope. It smells
Mhm.
like your baby.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
All right, let's talk about sound. The sound of a mom's voice to the baby and the sound of the baby's cry to the mom. Those are something that is it does something for the bonding. So, even in utero, the baby is hearing that voice. We're not hearing our baby's voice, but when we were expecting, often my husband used to like to put his like lay his throat over my belly and like
Mhm.
sing or talk to the baby because he'd
Mhm.
be like, "It gets to hear you all the time, but it needs to learn me too."
That's cute.
But yeah, another thing that can be done is to mimic the baby's little noises or sounds that they
Mhm.
make. Like we kind of almost automatically do that, but that is another bonding thing, that tool.
Mhm. I grew up the kid of a speech therapist, and what's fascinating is a lot of these vocal things that we do with our babies naturally is what helps speech to develop. So if a baby is delayed, a lot of the things that they tell you to do are things that are just kind of common knowledge or common sense, like narrate what you're doing all day long, repeat the sounds they're doing, repeat what you're trying to say over and over and over. It's pretty fascinating how we just kind of know what's going to help them and we just do more of the same, you know? And who
Yeah.
who hasn't been able to pick their baby's cry out of a lineup too? You know, a bunch of babies are crying, you're like, nope, that's mine.
Yeah, and you not only know the cry, but you know what the cry means. Oh, dirty diaper.
Yes,
Or
yes. I'm
they're
like,
mad because
uh-huh.
they're,
Oh,
hungry.
somebody
What that
yeah,
is.
somebody just took
Mhm.
a toy from my baby. I'll go get her
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Versus being hurt or hungry. Yeah, totally, totally. Okay, the next one is vestibular, and if you guys remember us talking about different ways of learning, then this is the movement, right? So swinging your baby back and forth, wearing your baby. So because your baby was in utero for a long time, they are used to your movements, not just your sounds and your smell, but they're used to the how you walk and how you move and how much you sit and wearing that baby a lot, especially right after birth, is so beneficial to get them feeling comforted and like they are in the right spot because all of a sudden they just got taken from this beautiful warm environment and put on a bed somewhere. To be close by mom is the next best thing to just staying in their belly forever, which none of us would want, right? But
Hmm.
um anytime there's a fussy baby, I guarantee there is a movement that will soothe that baby. You just have to figure out what it is. In fact, one time I made a video all about the different ways to calm a baby. And it's basically just different ways of swinging them and rocking them and patting them and walking with them, because movement is so soothing and bonding. It connects them with you because they know that they're safe when they're moving around with you.
Right, right. There's something about how come a mom or a dad can soothe and comfort the baby when nobody can. So you watch this, and you're in a room, there's a party and somebody's got a baby and the baby's crying and it's being passed from person to person to person to person. And then the parent takes it and they know the exact movement and the baby
Hmm.
knows, that this is mom that's jiggling me
Hmm.
just the right way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
bond.
Yeah.
There's benefits for the mom too. We're talking about tons of benefits for the baby and their development, physical, mental, social. But the benefits for the mothers cannot be underestimated as well. There is a direct connection to less postpartum depression with the stronger, as the bond goes up, the postpartum
Hmm.
depression goes down. And that's pretty amazing tool. Um, so, moms, we know about those baby blues and those days afterwards. And we had a very touching episode early on with Kimberly Coffin about postpartum depression. And yes, we know it's out there, it happens, but we just want to submit to you that one way to maybe help yourself with that is to work with your bond with your baby.
Hmm.
um, Better mental health for the mother as well. And then mothers actually self-report themselves as being more fulfilled the stronger they have a bond with their child. So the benefits for moms too.
Which makes sense. If you are feeling like this is your baby who needs you, that is a lot more fulfilling than thinking you're taking care of somebody else's baby that you don't
Yeah,
haven't really bonded to,
yeah, it gives you purpose in life. Like, this is my purpose.
Right, right. And I have heard from some friends who have really struggled with postpartum depression that that is one of the symptoms is being just really struggling to bond with their baby. They look at their baby and they don't have that immediate biological need to be with them and take care of them. But as long as your baby is safe in your care, you are the best person to be taking care of that baby. And
Right.
sometimes you just have to fake it until you make it. Pick them up, rock them, hug them, and it will come. It will come.
Smell them.
Yes, smell them. Totally, totally. Okay, so we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the benefits of being bonded to older kids. So, obviously, the majority of this bonding happens in the early years. So, if you were maybe not in the greatest of mental states when you had a baby, or you didn't know these things, or maybe your baby is adopted, or any number of things could have happened to not create that really strong bond early on, it's not too late. There is so much that can be done. And you basically just do a lot of the same things. I mean, obviously, if it's your 6-year-old, you're not going to baby wear them. You might die. But you can give them piggyback rides. You can tickle them. You can cuddle with them. You can lay with them at night. I know nobody wants kids in their bed, or if they have a hard time sleeping, but you can sleep with them. That's okay. Um, any number of things that you think this child needs to connect with you better. And some of those benefits include ones we've talked about before: social connection, like being able to have relationships with other people, because what that bond does is it gives them that firm foundation. They know that even if they're rejected by a friend, they have a parent that loves them unconditionally and they come back. It's kind of like a tether, right? They've got this really strong tether and they can go out and they can make choices and they can see the world, but they always know that they're tied back to this really strong family bond that keeps them feeling safe.
It is a lot not as fun to bond with, say, a teenager as as with a child, but what we do it in different ways, right? So you think of family game night or playing a game with people, like that is mimicking a lot of these things that happen with babies, like that. Well, it depends on the game, really, but just the spending the time together, the doing things
Mhm.
together, and a lot of these things happen. You spend time together, and um sight, smell, sound, touch, just like nourishing all of their senses as a baby. You could do that as an adult too. So you don't smell your teenager, but maybe you cook them a
You
really good
you might
meal.
not want to. Yeah.
Yeah, not recommended, especially, yeah. But maybe you cook them a really good meal, or buy them a special lotion or something, or something that nourishes their smell as well. their sense of smell.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting? When we think of our childhood homes, I bet you that we can connect those memories with all five senses, right? We have memories of what it looked like, of what it smelled like, what it sounded like, right? And so basically that's what we're doing for our children as they grow up is inside our homes, we are creating these memories for them to feel bonded to. And we do that through all different ways. And again, you might not be sniffing your teenager, but you can light a candle that reminds them of their favorite season, fall or whatever. Um, you can connect with them through doing something they really enjoy doing. One of the greatest tips I was ever given for teenagers was pay attention when your kid wants to talk to you, even if it's something that you're not interested in, because then when you want to talk to them about something that you're interested in, they will listen, meaning they're a lot more likely to take correction and talk about anything you want to talk about if you're listening to the umpteenth thing about Pokemon cards or whatever, to just pay attention in very obvious ways, right? So it does require a little bit more work. It's a lot easier to just hold my tiny newborn all day long and bond that way. But just to be aware that there are just as many benefits for these older kids to continue working on that bond.
Yeah, because the whole point of bonding is to have a connection for like through life, right? To have a family, a sense of self. We to have family as part of our sense of who we are. It
Mhm.
includes others. Humans are social creatures, and we're not designed to live by ourselves. And so then, being bonded to your adult children, it looks completely different, but it's way worth it, right? Because then you get to start being bonded to the next generation, right? Like, so your kids start having kids and you get to bond to them, and you get to be the kind of grandma that, you know, you always wanted, or you wanted your kids to have, or you had, or whatever. And it just goes on. Like, the bond is something special that carries every, the whole family, the family unit. It adds identity. So there's so many benefits of bonding with, yes, the newborn, yes, the child, but then, keep the bonds and the memories and the building relationships going.
Yeah, yeah. Just a final thought from me, you guys, going back to those baby years. If you are in the middle of that, this is just a quick reminder that you do need to take breaks because bonding is an all consuming job, to keep that baby with you and connect with them, nursing them and sleeping and taking care of them around the clock. Don't forget to take care of yourself. You guys know what big fans we are of self care and making sure that you come first so that you have a cup to pour out of. But that's especially difficult when you have a tiny baby that needs you all the time. So, bonding does not look like never, ever, ever leaving your baby. It doesn't mean that your baby can't sleep in a different room. It doesn't mean that you can't pass a bottle of milk to dad to feed the baby while you go out for a walk. Please take care of yourself first, and then work on your bond with your baby so that you are mentally and emotionally available for your children.
Right, exactly. I mean, do it for your baby. You want to be the best version of you for your baby to be bonded to.
Mhm.
And
She
that's
does. She
that's a
doesn't want
gift
to
to
be
them.
bonded to a crazy person. Take care of you.
Carry that baggage through life. Woo. Uh, no, I agree. Like, bonding, like, what I would say to my younger self, who's got kids draped all over her, is like, it's worth it. You're doing a really, really good job, and thanks for like wanting to be bonded to your kids, and for every effort that you make. You're doing a really good job. You're not perfect, no, obviously, no, nobody is, but you're doing a really good job. And even, I'm saying this to everybody who's listening to this episode too. If you're wanting to be bonded to your kid, you're wanting a really, really honorable thing that's going to serve you and your child really, really well in life. And every like we're not perfect, but to have a good intention, like having a good strong bond with your kid. It's not like there's no malice in that. There's nothing wrong with that. You're doing a really good job, and thanks for doing that. Like, somehow that would have just helped the younger me, just to hear that. Hey, good job, keep it up, you got
Yeah.
this. I see you, it's tiring, I know, but you got this. Okay, guys, that's it for today's episode. We really, really wanted to thank you for listening to this episode. We hope there's something in it that helps you, or helps you can help another with. And we want to encourage you to go leave a review if you haven't already, because that helps other young moms who any mom, any parent anywhere who's trying to bond with their kid be able to find us and listen to this episode too. I'm Audrey.
And I'm Bonnie, and we're outnumbered.
Thanks for listening, friends. Click the link in the show notes to subscribe to our email and never miss another episode.
Show us some love by leaving a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with a friend. Thanks for all your support. We'll talk to you next week.
I stuck those on the side, and
Yes,
we're going to go through all those here.
Yeah, you just shout out and stop me anytime.
Well, I was shouting at you, but I was on mute, so it wasn't helping.
I was like, well, I must have been talking about. Okay, I'm just going to redo that line then. Okay, perfect.
Okay, cool.
All right.